So what if you had a crystal ball? One that could show you exactly what's about to go wrong with your next big project or product launch? Well, today we're going to talk about something that's pretty darn close. It's a tool called FMEA. And trust me, it's a total game changer for getting ahead of problems before they even start. We have all had that sinking feeling, right? That moment when a project just completely goes sideways or a product that you worked so hard on suddenly fails. It is so frustrating. But what if there was a structured, logical way to see those failures coming from a mile away? That's the big question we're diving into. And the answer to that question is a powerful methodology called FMEA. Now, that stands for Failure Mode and Effects Analysis. Yeah, it sounds a little technical, but honestly, just think of it as that crystal ball we were talking about. It's for engineers, for project managers, really for anyone who's trying to build something that actually works and keeps working. It's a way to look into the future, figure out what could break, and then stop it in its tracks. So let's put a slightly more formal definition on it. FMEA is basically a system that helps you identify all those potential failures, figure out just how risky they are, and then, and this is the important part, decide what to fix first. The key idea here is that it completely flips the script. Instead of reacting to problems, you're being proactive. It's all about prevention, not damage control. And get this isn't some newfangled idea that just popped up. Oh no, FMAA has a serious track record. It actually started way back in the 1940s with the US military. Then NASA picked it up to make the Apollo missions safer. And today, it's pretty much the gold standard in any industry where failure is just not an option. We're talking automotive, healthcare, aerospace, you name it. Okay, so how does this crystal ball actually work? What's the secret sauce? Well, it all boils down to asking three simple but incredibly powerful questions that help you break down and actually measure risk. The first question is all about severity. You ask, on a scale of 1 to 10, if this thing fails, how bad is it? Is it a tiny inconvenience, like a button is a little sticky, or is it a catastrophic, somebody could get hurt kind of failure? The higher the number, obviously, the more severe the outcome. And it's not just a guess. Most organizations have specific guidelines that define what a 9 or a 10 really looks like. Second, you've got to look at occurrence. Again, it's a 1 to 10 scale, but this time you're asking, how likely is the cause of that failure to actually happen? Is this a 1 in a million shot, or is it something that, is almost guaranteed to happen eventually? This score helps you focus on the problems that are most frequent. And finally, the third question is all about detection. Now, this one's a little different, kind of backwards. Here we ask, how good are we at catching this problem before it gets to the customer? So a high score, like a 10, is actually really bad. It means we have no way of finding it. A low score is great. It means our checks and balances will almost certainly catch it. And here is where it all comes together in this beautiful, simple formula. You just multiply those three scores, severity times occurrence times detection. And what you get is a single, powerful number called the risk priority number, or RPN. Think of it like a heat map. It points a giant, flashing arrow at your biggest, scariest risks. This isn't just about the math. It's about forcing those tough, necessary conversations about where you should be spending your time and money. Okay, so we get the logic. 3 questions, 1 number. Awesome. But how do you actually do it? Let's walk through the actual process, step by step. This is how you turn that logic into something any team can really use. The process itself is super logical. It starts with getting the right people in the room. You want designers, manufacturing folks, customer service reps, a whole mix of experts. Then you lock down exactly what part or process you're analyzing. From there, the team just brainstorms all the wild and crazy ways things could go wrong. Then you score them with our 3 questions, and finally, you create a real action plan to go after the highest RPNs first. Simple as that. Theory is one thing, but let's make this real. We're going to walk through a super simple manufacturing example, a bolting assembly. This is going to show you just how powerful this whole thing can be. Okay, so here's our scenario. The potential failure is that a bolt isn't tightened properly. What's the effect? Well, a component could literally fall off, creating a huge safety hazard. So the team gives severity a 9. The cause? Good old manual error, or maybe a bad tool. That happens a fair bit, so occurrence gets a 6. And their current check? Just a quick visual inspection. that's not going to tell you if a bolt is torqued right, so detection gets a high 7, which is bad. So let's do the math. We've got 9 times 6 times 7. That gives us a risk priority number of 378. Out of a possible 1,000, that is a big, scary number. That's a massive red flag. The FMEA is basically screaming, hey, look over here, deal with this right now. So the team's response is a no-brainer. They recommend putting in an automated torque control system. Now, this action is brilliant because it directly attacks the root cause, right? It takes manual error out of the equation. And it dramatically improves their ability to detect a problem before that part ever leaves the factory. And what's the result of that one change? Well, after the new system is in, the occurrence score plummets to a 2, and detection gets way better, down to a 3. So the new RPN is just 54. I mean, just look at that drop. From a huge risk at 378 all the way down to a totally manageable 54. That is the power of this process in a nutshell. So, okay, that's one example. But why does this really matter to you, to your team, to your whole company? Let's talk about the incredible payoff you get when you adopt this proactive way of thinking. Honestly, the benefits are huge. You're not just fixing problems anymore, you're preventing them from ever happening. That leads directly to better quality and more reliable products. It saves a ton of money because you're avoiding costly recalls or rework. And of course, that means happier customers. But maybe the biggest thing is it builds a culture where everybody is constantly thinking about how to make things better. But here's maybe the most important thing I can tell you. An FMEA is not something you do once, check a box, and then file away to collect dust. It is a living, breathing document. Anytime your process changes, or you introduce a new material, or you get new data from customers, you have to go back and update it. That's what keeps it relevant and powerful. So I'll leave you with this one question to think about. Looking at your own work, your own projects, what's one potential failure you could get ahead of tomorrow just by asking those 3 simple questions? Think about it. Thanks so much for tuning in.